Welcome back to Don't Quote Us Sports. It is, I have to get my brain adjusted here. It is Wednesday, October 22nd. I'm just going to attack the elephant in the room. Yes, we are a day late, but
we are.
That is not our fault. Me and Herb sat here in Riverside where we record our podcast yesterday at our normally scheduled recording hours, and Herb, what did the message say to us?
It said, "Get bent, technical issue, not our problem, your problem."
So we sat there we gave it the good old college try. I think we gave it a good old 5 minutes, and then we talked for another probably about 15 minutes bitching about fantasy, and then we called it a night. We called it good.
Yeah, technical difficulties bite you in the ass every time. Hoping to get back on track next week.
Yeah, that's on us. Hands up. We should have known that Riverside was going to be out last night, and we should have planned accordingly. So, shout out to whoever hacked AWS. That's who's to blame, most likely.
You think that was it? You think that's what it was?
That was the first thing my wife said. She's like, Is that the reason? I'm like,
who's going at Riverside? What sort of data is Riverside harboring? That's so monumental.
But Herb, I wanted to start this episode off. I might start these episodes off with would you rather questions because I found some that are pretty funny.
You just got yourself one of those daily peel away calendars with a would you rather on it?
There's like I just typed into Google and I found a good site for it. Okay. You ready?
All right, hit me.
Would you rather poop in the only toilet at a party knowing that you'll clog it, or poop in the bushes in the backyard where everybody can see?
I'm a shameless pooper. There are some people in my life that I know, dear friends, who will not poop in a public setting, like a public bathroom. Brother, if it's a hole in the ground and I gotta go, doesn't matter. I'll clog it. I'll shit in the bush. I don't care. Hey, we're all grown adults here. Okay, clog the toilet. Where's the plunger? Let me take care of this right quick. Dude, it's the only bathroom at the party. What the fuck? Would you have preferred me to shit in the bushes? Did you want to see that?
Fuck, I should have asked this one instead.
You hit me with another one. Listen, this podcast thing, we're all over the place today.
This one I won't cut. Would you rather automatically say, ahoy, matey, when you get an erection, or shiver me timbers when you come?
Ooh. I mean, it's better than it would be better than climaxing and hitting him with the Midwestern. Oh, like that would be a tough one to come back from. Shiver me timbers. It would really depend on the second party. If she's a cool gal, if she's just a goofy gal, I think I'm hitting her with the shiver me timbers at the end. But if it's your run of the mill, very cookie cutter kind of female, I'm gonna go ahead and say ahoy, matey. I would lean that way. I would prefer to hit you with the shiver me timbers.
Dude, imagine you just... Okay, nope. Before this goes down too explicit of a road, I'll stop myself.
Welcome back to Caller Daddy 2.0. We are not a sports podcast anymore. We're talking about orgasms and erections, folks.
But remind me after this episode.
I don't know what website you're on, but I'm hoping you're using an incognito browser for it, you sicko.
Why would I do that? They already have all my data.
They know what I watch.
They got everything. I'm unbothered. The amount of spam texts I get, unconcerned.
You gotta get off the hub, Playboy.
I don't even know is that. It's from all the random websites that I've signed up for and then forgotten about, and now all my access is or all my information is there.
Just
And
being
then they
sold
go
on
and
the
sell it
black
to some
markets.
yeah. Then they go sell it to some data broker, and now it's on the black market.
Hey, speaking of that, real
Honestly,
quick, did you hear about
honestly, I probably have
the
more faith in those shady websites than we. I have more faith in those things than I do in our financial institutions to keep my information safe.
probably?
I've gotten
Did
more
you?
notifications that I've been a part of data breaches from my credit cards and my banks than anything else.
Yeah, yeah. I never get those, so I'm a little concerned that they're just not telling me. Did you see the scam that was getting run for the or the iPass, Easy Pass, whatever you want to call it, in Chicago?
No.
They made like $1.1 billion off of scamming people into these tickets or some astronomical number. How do you fall for that? Then again, granted the internet was fresh. This may have been before your time, but the Nigerian prince emails. Are you familiar with that,
Yeah.
brother? I don't think you understand how many middle America house moms fell for that shit. They had to make a killing. God, they say you should get in when you're young. I wish I would have got in on that one when I was young.
I love how even as a young herb, you still would have been unethical as fuck to become rich.
Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, baby.
Knowing what you know now, you're like, fuck it. I don't need a Bitcoin. I'm just gonna get deep into these random ass hacks that are going around so I can steal from innocent people.
Yeah.
So much better. But I know we're late with the sports talk. We're late in the cycle, but we're still going to talk about it because we are a sports podcast brought to you by nobody in particular. But the game that is the perfect like, hey, over here,
The sports
would love
podcast
to.
nobody asked for. Here we are.
That's us, and it could be yours for a small little fee.
Yeah, just a very small annual fee of $10,000, and we'll put your logo all over this thing.
I'll wear a costume.
Speaking of next week's Halloween,
I'm not dressing up.
yes, we are. All right, sports talk.
Okay, the game I want to start with, because it was the craziest game, in my opinion, of the entire week, was the New York Giants' epic collapse in the fourth quarter out there in Mile High. Because I don't know what it possibly could take at this point to get rid of Brian Dable, but this feels like a really hard thing to recover from. And he's recovered from a lot of things at this point. But to lose a game when you were up 19-0 at the start of the fourth quarter and then allowed the Broncos to score 33 points in the final 15 minutes, you were up 26-8 with 6 minutes left. And mind you, they even took the lead back with a minute left, and they still lost this game. There's just not a word to describe this other than unfathomable.
I mean, yeah, that's the only way to put it. In terms of Dable losing his job, you and I both said like 2 weeks ago he saved himself. Jackson Dart saved Dable's job. I think it wasn't just for that week. I think it was for the season. So while it was a monumental collapse, I still think Dable is safe for the rest of the season. I think they've identified that Dart is their guy, and it is going to be all about development at this point and growing him. The expectation can't be playoffs still, uh, but I think he's safe. The defensive coordinator might not be safe, though. The defensive coordinator might get canned because to allow that level of scoring in that short of a time in the NFL, like, come on, man. What are we doing?
I mean, in fairness, I don't know how closely you watched this game. Dart had one of the ugliest interceptions in the fourth quarter that
Yeah,
that
but that
gave
was
them the
only
ball
his only
back.
mistake. That was his only mistake of the game.
I mean, you could argue that his other mistakes were not sustaining drives long enough in the fourth quarter and kept giving the ball back to Denver.
But how much of that,
So while that
realistically,
might
how
not
much of
show up
that
in the
is it?
stat sheet,
How much of that are you putting on a rookie quarterback as opposed to the play calling? Which then, yeah, I would. Then we have to lean on Dable of like, hey, you fucked this up. I can't sit here and say that Jackson Dart had a bad game. I thought Jackson Dart played very well against one of the top 5 defenses in the league. I mean, kids slung 3 touchdowns. Yeah, it was a bad pick, and yeah, they couldn't get things going. I think that's more play calling than it is Jackson. He's still a rookie. Let's not forget he's in his what, 4th game, 5th game at best.
fourth game, yeah. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I watched this game religiously and I know exactly the play calling, if they were just going run, third and long, and then they're forced to pass, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know that or not. But
I watched enough
at
of
some
it to know
point,
that the Giants seemed like they were trying not to lose it.
which in fairness, if their kicker that they signed off the street this week would have made his 2 extra points, it wouldn't have mattered. So maybe he should be getting all the blame.
Well, he did. He lost his job today.
Well, I mean, we already knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not quick to rush judgment on the Giants. This current Giant team with Dart and with Scattaboo, I'm not going to rush judging them against the Broncos defense right now. The fact that you were even in this game,
We're just gonna fall back on. They're a young team. They're still learning how to win.
yeah, and then there's a lot of truth to it on the offensive side. There's no excuse on the defensive side for what happened though. No excuse.
And the person that I saw that who who came out in the media, was it Burns or was it Thibodeau, talking about how what happened was unacceptable?
I
Do
didn't
you
see
know?
it, but I'd hope that it's Brian Burns because that guy should be the captain of your defense.
I hope.
Honestly, I'd like to hear Dex open his mouth for a change and take a leadership role in that defense in a very public way.
Okay, so it was Brian Burns. Because I was gonna say it was super hypocritical. It would have been super hypocritical. Because at the end of the game, um, Denver was in the red zone, and I think it was Thibodeau had just an egregious offsides in one of the biggest moments of the game. And I thought he was the one went on some tirade afterwards, bitching and moaning about everything. I'm like, I just want to be like, dude, you are part of the reason that you guys lost this game with that boneheaded mistake.
You want to talk about
But
embarrassing? You're the
it
one who
was
jumped, bro.
dumbass.
Hey, real quick with this game. Real quick with this game. Did you happen to hear about the dramatics that happened after the game with Dre Greenlaw?
No, but I did see a report that he got suspended for a game
Yeah,
by the
so
NFL.
he didn't appreciate the officiating at the end, and after the game, ran alongside the ref and let him know what he thought about his officiating. Didn't make contact, wasn't like chasing him down, like was just running alongside and then peeled off. To be honest with you, if you wanted to fine him, fine, right? Because you can't just go up and talk to the ref any kind of way. But to suspend him for a game, I didn't see any contact between him and the ref. I don't know what he could have said to warrant a suspension other than like a threat of physical violence. But to suspend Dre Greenlaw for voicing his opinion, you want to fine him, fine his ass. But to suspend him and then to review and uphold it, that's a little wild to me, in my opinion. I wasn't a big fan of how the NFL handled that one.
I feel like this is one of those where, unless you were there and we heard exactly what happened, and who knows, maybe it continued to go down the tunnel a little bit, and there's stuff that we didn't see. You know, I don't want to sit here and be like, yeah, this was not warranted at all. He could have said some vulgar ass shit, that where it's like, okay, we're crossing lines now. And I know it's not during the game, but it's still to the like I get the game is about the players, but the refs have just as much of a right to safety and to do their job, right? Without fear of being intimidated or attacked afterwards, right? Otherwise,
Correct.
who's going to want to be an NFL? Who's going to want to be a ref, So, unless we know verbatim what he said, I'm not going to sit here and be like Dre Greenlaw got hosed, like he didn't deserve this. And
Yeah,
I'm sure that we probably never will hear
what I'm saying
really
is
was.
that unless there was a threat of violence or he started talking about the guy's wife or family, right? Like those are two lines you can't cross. Should never cross. Don't even consider crossing. Anything under that, I can't imagine. I mean, he can call that ref every name in the book. I don't think it warrants a suspension. I think a fine, absolutely, because the NFL cracks down on even you. If you say, "Yeah, I didn't agree with the officiating tonight," you get a fine from the NFL. As simple as that. So, a fine absolutely warranted. If it was anything other than what I've said, this seems like a bit much by the NFL. And the video clip I saw was maybe 10 seconds long at like midfield jogging towards the tunnel. Didn't follow him up the tunnel that I saw. So maybe there's more to it. I'm sure there is. Felt a little drastic from the NFL office.
Shouldn't poke the bear.
I guess
NFL
not.
Colts King. But I need to ask the question. I texted you this as this game was finishing on Sunday. Are the Colts the best team in the AFC? I know we were very quick early in the season to put the crowd on Buffalo, who have since kind of been a little bit disappointing in recent weeks before this bye. You know who has not been disappointing all season thus far? The Indianapolis Colts. Because all they do is continue to win. They steamrolled the Chargers, who I think we both consider to be a playoff team in the AFC. So now they're sitting at 6-1, best in the division. Jonathan Taylor had another 3 touchdowns. Daniel Jones threw for another 2. And if you look at their offensive stats, they are nothing short of a juggernaut at this point. They're second in yards per game, first in yards per play, first in offensive points per game. And then I saw some stat as I was scrolling through Twitter today of they are first in points per possession in the first out of all teams in the last I want to say ever, topping the 2007 Patriots. That's how good their offense has been, and it's been by a wide margin too. I'd have to go back and look at it, but the distance between where they are right now and where second place was on points per drive was the distance between second and 10th type of thing. That's how far ahead they were.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And yeah, I owe an apology to their coaching staff and to Daniel Jones because I was all out on them. You said they're 6-1. They could easily be 7-0. The blocked field goal against the Rams, changed that whole game. They could be 7-0 very, very easily. They're a well-oiled machine, dude. They just don't make a lot of mistakes. Their O-line, despite losing guys, rebuilt, does a great job protecting Daniel Jones. Jonathan Taylor's having an MVP-like season. Speaking of him, did you see the stat about his total touchdowns today?
Mm-hmm.
So he's got 11 total touchdowns on the season. The Las Vegas Raiders have 10 as a team.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Definitely checks out.
They just don't make mistakes. They are efficient. They kind of like what I told you about the Indiana Hoosiers. They're almost surgical in a sense of like they know exactly what their script is and what they want to do. They make great adjustments. Right now, I have to put the Colts as the best team in the AFC. It's close still. The Bills are hanging in there, don't get me wrong, despite the lull they found themselves in. But they're going to come off a bye and hopefully come out swinging. But the Chiefs are a scary team. I would not want to play the Colts. The Colts are a scary team. I would not want to play them right now.
And you're still saying that considering outside of this LA win, their other wins this season have come against the Dolphins, the Broncos, Titans, Raiders, and Cardinals, which only one of those teams is above 500.
Yeah, they haven't had a strong schedule to this point. The upcoming, I think their next 4 games are fairly difficult.
No,
the next 4 aren't.
They're not.
I thought they have a run with Jacksonville.
They got the Titans, then the Steelers, the Falcons, and the Chiefs are their next 4.
Yeah, I would say
they're
3 of those.
Favored in 3 of those.
Sure, but 3 of them are still going to be like Atlanta and Chiefs are not easy games.
I mean, I still don't know if Atlanta's any good at this point. They really know how to no-show.
True, but Bijan still runs the ball back there, so he could cut you up a million different ways, it feels like. No, I'm putting the Colts. It's the efficiency. It is the lack of mistake. I'm going to go back to that. It's all of this is going to translate when it comes to the Chiefs, and that'll be the real test because the Chiefs are seemingly back. So, yeah, right now I'm going to put the Colts up at the top. But the Bills are right there. The Chiefs are right there. The Chargers, despite what happened this past weekend, are still up in that mix.
Yeah, it's just going to be really interesting come the end of this season because the Colts, like we said, the Colts schedule is a cakewalk, essentially. And how that plays out with home field advantage and stuff. Because can you imagine KC? Like, if you can just take away home field advantage from Buffalo or KC, I'm not saying that they're bound to lose just because they're not playing at home, but the age-old saying is how difficult it can be to win on the road, you know? Like, if you have the ability, you much rather be playing at home in this sort of environment, you know, winner take all.
Plus, with the Colts, you're playing inside in January as opposed to playing at Arrowhead, which is freezing, or Buffalo, where they get 5 foot of snow. So yeah, I'd be gunning for home field, and I get to play inside the heated Lucas Oil Field.
Damn, when you actually look at the playoff picture for the AFC, I didn't realize how many of these teams actually play outdoors still.
What's that looking like?
Bills. So the current playoff standings are Colts, Patriots, Broncos, Steelers, Bills, Chargers, Jaguars. So 4 of those teams are outdoors.
In the cold. Yeah,
and
I mean,
the Chiefs will flip-flop one of these teams.
If there's a carrot at the end of the stick for the Colts, if there's a carrot at the end of the stick for the Colts, it is, hey, you get to play inside for basically all the playoffs, and then you get to play in warm weather for the Super Bowl. So go secure that, and we've got a much easier run to the Super Bowl. That's what I would be preaching if I was the Colts right now.
Could you imagine end of season and Daniel Jones is holding a Vince Lombardi trophy?
How can you not be a little poetic?
Also,
about
how
football?
ironic would that be if the Colts? How ironic would that be if the Colts won the Super Bowl literally the season that Jim Irsay dies, leading up
A
to it.
destiny.
All I know is my Shane Steichen Coach of the Year dark horse pick is looking like damn near lock at this point.
Yeah, he. I question that in a big way. Same with Dave Canales. When you pick Dave Canales, I question that in a big way. But here we sit, and those guys have
He's
got to
also
be in the
looking
top
good.
10. He
Let's go
knows
top
ball,
five.
folks.
Top
He knows
five.
ball.
Top five.
But you don't like
Give
the
me some.
Colts, huh? You
Okay.
don't like the Colts?
I mean, I like the storyline, don't get me wrong. It's just one of those things. It's hard to like I just feel like everybody's gonna put too much stock in them now, seeing a nice shiny 6-1 record, and then the second that they actually play somebody, which yes, they have a game against Kansas City at some point this season. Um, I just feel like it's going to be one of those things. They glide into the playoffs 13-4 or something, and then they finally have to play a good team in the playoffs and just get slapped around. Daniel Jones reverts back to Daniel Jones, kind of like what happened with the Vikings and Sam Darnold last year. He goes and has just a miraculous regular season, just could do no wrong type of thing. And then the second that the pressure's on and we have a division championship game essentially in week 18 and then the wild card round the following week, he just turns into the old Sam Darnold that we had all like come to know and just looked like a dumpster fire. So that's like I see too many of the similarities at this point.
Yeah, I get it. I get where the concern comes from. I think it's a little different. I think JT plays a massive role in that. Not that he didn't have Saquon, but JT has a massive, massive role in that. That he might be sneaking up into that MVP conversation in a hurry, and kind of like Saquon did last year, where he's going to get screwed out of it at the end.
Yeah, I'm telling you, if there is a season that a quarterback is not going to win MVP, I'm feeling more and more confident saying it's going to be this season.
Shit, JSN might get in that conversation.
Literally. Because if we look at just like top 5 in passing yards right now, it's Herbert, who I wouldn't put top 5 MVP right now.
Nope.
Dak, not putting top 5. Stafford, Mahomes.
Maybe dependent. Stafford maybe dependent on how good the Rams look going into the playoffs and how deep a run they make.
Mahomes might actually have a pretty valid case at it. He's projected 34 touchdowns, 5 picks, with a passer rating of 103. That probably is enough to win.
Plus, it's Mahomes.
Plus, it's Mahomes. Okay, enough of that. Dude, can we? I don't know how we keep talking about this team as much as we have so far this year, but god damn it, dude, the Miami Dolphins. I am sorry. Like the New York Jets are alive and well out there at 0-7, and I think I would rather watch them on a week to week basis than this soap opera that we have going on in Miami. It is just mind-boggling how the vibes can keep getting worse after everything that has happened with this team. It is it hurts my head. And if I had to watch Tua turn the ball over week after week, I would have gone through 3 TVs already this season. I guarantee it.
Yeah. With Miami, it's you put it the best. I didn't think the vibes could get any worse, and they did in a hurry. They look sad, and the fact that Mike McDaniels wasn't fired after that game, and then the Dolphins come out supporting him. Seemingly, he's going to be the head coach through this year. I don't get it. I think Mike McDaniels had the best intention. He might be one of those guys. He was a better coordinator than a head coach. Like we all love that you're vaping on the sideline and you wear capris and you got cool Nikes on. Like it's all well and good, dude, but it's not winning games, and it's not. It's certainly Tua's fault. Don't get me wrong, but the rest of that team just looks like they've been kicked in the balls over and over and over. They don't want to play. They don't want to be out there. They don't want to do what they're paid to do. It's so ugly. The back-to-back picks by Tua, and they were bad picks. I'm just like, oh my, get him out of. I was sitting there screaming, get him out of the game. Get him out. Pull him. He has to be done. He has to be done.
And we thought the Russell Wilson contract was bad after that first year. Dude, or even the Deshaun Watson, and yeah, you probably argue that those deals are worse just because of the draft capital that you also had to get up just to get them. But holy brother in Christ, this Tua contract is going to go down as one of the 5 worst contracts in NFL history.
Yeah, the dead cap's at like 137 million.
Dude, he still has like 3 years, 150 million on this contract.
I just what do you do? That's the real like where do they go? What's the next move? They're keeping McDaniels, and that's where you started. From there, where do you go? Where would you go?
I mean, McDaniels has to get fired, but then the question comes in, you're just going to essentially start the cycle over again because you're going to hire a head coach to come in who needs to try and fix Tua again, to find out that you can't fix Tua because he's not good, and then you're going to get rid of Tua, right? And then a new quarterback comes in, and then now it's kind of like where the Titans are, and now you're just rotating between switching quarterbacks to switching head coaches to switching GMs, like, and until they can get everybody on the same page, and it's the GM who's coming in and picking his head coach, and those guys are agreeing on this is our quarterback, like, they're just lost. They're in this rudderless, like stuck in neutral type of thing. So I don't know, and it's not like, I just don't know if the Dolphins are willing to chew all that dead cap and just throw in the towel on the next 2 years and be like, we just got to straight up reset at this point.
And if I were the GM of the Dolphins, that would be my suggestion, is scorched earth, full rebuild. We are starting completely over. And where does that start? Mike McDaniels is fired. Tua is benched for the rest of this year, and we're going to cut him at the end. Quinn Ewers and I believe, is Skylar Thompson the number 3 there? But either way, either way, Quinn, you're going out there. We're going to work on developing you and see what you have. This season is a wash. Waddle's not going to play a whole lot. A-Chain's carries are going to go down because we don't want to get him hurt. And we're going to sell some pieces here. And where do we go next spring? At the 1, 2, or 3 pick, we're taking best quarterback available. We're going to hire a quarterback coach, head coach, or quarterback-minded head coach, and that's where we start. So then you've got a 4 to 5 year contract controlled piece at quarterback. You've got your head coach with his quarterback. I hate to say, like, yeah, you just got to tear it all down and restart, but I think that at this point, that's where they're at. It's what you kind of saw with the Saints. Very similar.
Yeah, I literally just don't think it's as simple as firing Mike McDaniel and trying to bring somebody else in, because who's going to want this job if Mike McDaniels gets fired?
If
who is going to want to come in and try and fix Tua?
If you are bringing somebody in a full rebuild, saying Doesn't matter. Like, figure out who your guy is. We're drafting him. Don't care where we're drafting. We're picking your guy. I think that is going to be incredibly attractive as long as Tua and Tyreek are not a part of the future look. But unfortunately, that handicaps you in a huge
Yeah,
way.
but what? Yeah, I was gonna say, what if ownership's like McDaniel's gone, but Tua's staying? Like, you have to make it work with Tua.
No,
Who's gonna come in and be like,
then ownership
"Yep,
needs to swallow their fucking pride, and they need to get over themselves and recognize that you have a turnover machine at quarterback. It's unfortunate. I get it. We all wanted Tua to do well. He didn't. So suck it up, be an owner, and get rid of a bad asset at a loss. That's business.
yeah, his stats, they're bad on the season, don't get me wrong. He has 11 touchdowns to 10 picks, which is tied for the league lead. Dude, his stats since Tyreek has gone out, so I think it's been 3 full games now. He has 6 interceptions, and his passer rating is a 69.2 without Tyreek Hill. To put that into perspective, that would be the lowest in the league. Just kidding. Technically, JJ McCarthy is last at 67. I'm not going
Well,
to count him right here.
sample
It would
size.
easily be the lowest. It would easily be the lowest in the league.
Isn't that nuts? Because it's not like they were playing well
It's just not good.
together to begin with.
No.
I feel
People are going
for
to have to start
Miami
asking the
fans.
question, did the sleeves make Tua worse? Did the dual tribal arm sleeves make Tua worse?
Now you're shitting on the guy's heritage.
Hey, no. Stop. I am just asking a question because if we take a walk back memory lane, he had one very good year in the NFL where he threw almost 5,000 yards and 29 touchdowns. And I don't believe he had arm sleeves back then. I could be completely wrong. I don't believe he did. And he has been god off. I'm going to find the stat breaking down Tua with tattoos and Tua without tattoos because now I'm curious.
Hey, advanced analytics. That's all that is. I think,
Okay, I'm
Isaiah,
not going to be able to find it right now because I feel like this is a very convoluted.
I think what is probably a bigger detriment than the tattoos is the multiple traumatic brain injuries he has suffered on the field in front of millions of people watching. I'm sure that probably plays a little bit bigger factor than whether or not he's inked up.
See, now you're assuming things. At least I can point to something that is tangible. And least what I can see is an actual change. You're assuming his brain is just a jumbled mess. That's fucked up. I can actually see the changes onto his body.
Did you see him?
We've seen plenty of players do that. Damar Hamlin died. Look at him now.
He did die. Damar Hamlin playing with house money now, bro.
Okay, we'll switch gears and go over to college football, where another week of upsets. And I'll just speed run through what we had here, and we can kind of touch on a couple of them. But we started off Friday night, where both ranked teams lost: Miami to Louisville and Nebraska to Minnesota. Then on Saturday, Texas A&M has a close call with Arkansas. Georgia comes back in the fourth quarter to take out Ole Miss. Alabama controls against Tennessee. Arizona State wins a big one at home against Texas Tech. Vanderbilt keeps the Cinderella story going because they played LSU, who are they coached by again?
His name's Brian Kelly, and he's not to be trusted.
Get the fucker out of here. Okay. Then Georgia Tech continues their undefeated streak, beating a previously undefeated in conference Duke team. Notre Dame controls against USC. Let's see. BYU wins the Civil War 24-21. What else? Virginia, sneaky Virginia. They hold on against Washington State 22-20. Texas is lucky to have beaten Kentucky, and then UAB. We got more upsets out there in the American. UAB with interim head coach. Who you want to take a
Mm-hmm.
guess at who their interim head coach is? I found
Yeah,
out.
it's Mort, right?
Yeah, it's Chris Morenson, or his name
Yep.
Andy Morenson, but Chris Morenson's son. I did not know that. I thought very cool. But yeah,
Well, do you know? Real quick? Do you know what coach they fired?
yeah, Trent Dilfer.
Trent. You're just going from name to name, baby.
But yeah, they were 21.5 point underdogs for that game, won by 7. So very cool for UAB. But Herb, again, who can we trust in college football this season? Because there seems to be fewer and fewer teams each week.
This has been a mess of a college football season, and I absolutely fucking love it. I absolutely love it. It has made Saturdays more enjoyable than just knowing who your top 10 teams are week in and week out. And they may shuffle up in there. But, I mean, we've got Vandy all the way up to 10. Let's go. By the way, no big deal, but we on this podcast may or may not have called the Vandy upset, the Arizona State upset, the South Carolina upset. We are locked in, baby.
South Carolina did not win, by the way.
They didn't? I thought. Well, that's my apologies. Well,
nope, they got smoked.
Jeez.
But Vanderbilt did win. But yeah, to what you're saying, the top 10 currently contains known blue bloods such as Indiana, Georgia Tech, and Vanderbilt. I know there was a lot of hoopla about NIL when it first rolled out, and kids were just getting a blank check, and we were getting really concerned as to how that would impact the quality of play we saw on the field. We just assumed that the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Alabamas would just get even better than they were, and that gap would just widen to the point where it's literally now just those teams that we're seeing on a year in, year out basis. But I think we're starting to see the complete opposite, where literally it doesn't matter who you're playing each week at this point. It's not like how it used to be, where you're going to, like Penn State, for example, and you're just going to dog walk Rutgers without question every single week, you know? And you'll have these streaks where the Alabamas have like some 60 game consecutive win streak against unranked opponents. I just don't think we're going to see that anymore, because NIL's actually closed the gap where schools don't need to rely on that history of, yeah, we have all these national titles, we have all this history, we have this pipeline to the NFL, blah, blah, blah. No, we can just entice them with more money, you know, and get the talent that we may otherwise not have had an opportunity to get, which I love that it's actually playing out this way, you know?
Yeah, I was a skeptic of this whole NIL thing. I was of the mindset of, you're getting a free education, you're getting monthly stipends, all your food's paid for, you get all this gear, you got a scholarship, you know, the whole nine. And I was of the mindset that, is that not enough? I didn't think about the implications of leveling the playing field. I think we can sit here and say that NIL is working in that regard. I still think we need to be talking about salary cap. I think we need to be talking about a commissioner of football to try to help manage some of this and percentages of what you're allowed to spend, because I do think there needs to be some restriction there. But to see teams like Indiana, who hammered the portal, right? Teams like Vanderbilt, who hammered the portal, who had some funding, to see them come up because of that ability, where 5 years ago they wouldn't have been even in play for Indiana, wouldn't have been in play for Fernando Mendoza 5 years ago. It wouldn't have even been a question. Now they are. So I can safely sit here and say that I have changed my mind on NIL. I just want a little more restriction on it. So it's cool to see.
I think the biggest part outside of like the salary cap, because I don't know if we'll ever get like a set number, because you have like with NIL, it's supposed to be like sponsorships, right? So it's not like you can put a limit as to like Arch Manning. Like you can't be like, oh, sorry, you've hit your maximum amount of sponsorship dollars that you can bring in. Like can't really do that. They've already kind of set that salary cap in terms of the revenue sharing, where it's I think this year it's $20.5 million, and then the schools can spread that however they want to across all their athletics, right? So they do technically have a quote unquote salary cap, right? I think the bigger issue that I have is the whole transferring, right? With one, just the windows where they have it set up, where one window is literally opening in December during bowl season for these top tier programs, and then you have a Prabula situation like you did last year when Penn State's literally getting ready for a playoff game, and then their backup quarterback's like, "See ya, sorry, I can't stick around." Like I have no choice here. Like we got to tighten that up, and then kids shouldn't be allowed to just pick up and transfer. We should not be seeing a kid go to 4 schools in 4 years. Like
Correct.
that's not the intention here. Like you should obviously get a free transfer if your head coach is fired or if there's some extenuating circumstance, right? But then it should be back to what it used to be, where you get one transfer, and we'll give you that one for free, let's say, right? But then after that, well, now you have to sit a year, or like there has to be some type of stipulation where we're just not seeing these kids go to the highest bidder each and every offseason, because that's not what college football is supposed to be.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of if you transfer upward, there used to be a sitting deal if you changed level, but if you transferred down, you were okay. If you transferred up or interdivisionally or inter level, you had to sit a year. I think something that I've thought about, you get 2 transfers on the same level. So FBS, FCS, if you want to transfer twice in there, go ahead. You get 1 transfer up and unlimited transfers down. I think because the limiting the transfers upward stops teams like South Dakota and North Dakota State and UNI from becoming feeder programs for FCS or FBS programs. You know what I mean? They don't want to create a minor league system. That's not the intent of FCS football. So I think you get 1 free moving from FCS to FBS, and then 2 within the same. And I can't stand looking at a dude that's played for 5 different teams in 5 years.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm also curious if down the line we'll see kind of a split. So we'll go from FBS, insert new division where it's like your Sun Belt, American, Mountain West teams, and then FCS, because I feel like that, like you can easily divide those into tiers, right? And yes, there are some, like for this year, for example, yes, there are good teams in the American, right? One's going to make the playoff. We just don't know who yet. But are they ever really going to have like a real opportunity to win a national title? Like, I feel like they still deserve some sort of recognition, for the play that they've had on the field. And I don't know if that's something that those programs would want per se, especially if you are the one team that maybe that one team, like maybe they still do have like the one group of 5 team make the playoff automatically, and then the rest of the team feed into their own little like playoff bracket, kind of like the FCS does,
Yeah, but now you're flirting with like potential relegation. Like you could figure a way to make relegation work, which I think would be electric.
That actually
Electric.
would be such a cool idea in college football.
You get relegated down to the tier 2 teams.
Literally. Like, there's
It
plenty of
would
teams.
it'd be a nightmare for conferences though. Like in terms of
I mean,
conferences and revenue in for the conference, it would be a nightmare. But what a fan experience that would be.
at this point, they've already. If they didn't have the TV deals, this would be such a good idea. But because of those TV deals, it will never happen. But that would be so electric.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
would be.
imagine fighting for a relegation game. Imagine Georgia against Georgia Tech at the end of the year. Both teams are facing relegation, and we're looking at one of these teams is going down to play Southern Miss every year, and one of these teams is looking to fight to stay up at the big boy table. That would be. Could you imagine the sports betting on relegation? Come on.
Oh man, now I'm all hot and heavy on this idea. God, that sounds so cool.
Truthfully, I want that in the NFL too. I think we could get the XFL or the UFL or whatever they're calling themselves nowadays. I think
No,
they should be able to get that league up. Listen, if the Europeans can figure it out, why can't we?
I think that was just kind of like as it was set up. I think with how the sports leagues in America were set up, it will just never play because you have these owners that now have these franchises worth billions and billions of dollars. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, push us down to a league where my team is going to not bring in as much money. You know, it's not like they're going to be able to implement that sort of thing now.
Somehow Premier League owners have become okay over time with this idea. I feel like that would be a lot of fun. College would be great. I think the NFL and XFL would be. Oh,
they already had their opportunity. They had NFL Europe.
I had a coach that played in that. He said it was a hell of a time. He loved it.
Dude, that sounds like a blast.
Just I think he played for a team out of Italy or something, like maybe the Rome team or whatever the hell they had going on in Italy. And then he played in the Canadian League for a little bit too. No, he loved NFL Europe. He thought it was the coolest thing in the world.
But in other news, sorry, that was a tangent I was not expecting for college football wise. But the other big news in college football from this week was Billy Napier officially being fired down there in Gainesville. Finished his tenure with the Gators with the 22-23 record. Florida is now seeking their fifth head coach since Urban Meyer retired in 2010.
Is that what we're calling it?
The name retired.
Yeah.
That
okay.
big air quotes on that one. But the big name that's being tossed around for this opening, and I don't know how I feel about it, but it's just the first name out of everybody's mouth, it seems like, and that is Lane Kiffin. And a lot of people are saying that because they see a lot of similarities between him and Steve Spurrier, who we both know had a lot of success down there in Gainesville. Young, super confident, brash, but also just very good at play calling, quarterback development. Let's put it this way. What do you think the odds are that let's put it both ways. Odds are that Lane Kiffin is number one for Florida, and then the odds that you have Lane Kiffin actually leaving Ole Miss. Because I think those are two very different propositions there.
Yeah, I think on the Florida side, he is probably their number one, if not number two, and I would guess that James Franklin would be number one if it weren't Lane Kiffin. So yeah, high level of interest from Florida in Lane Kiffin. Why wouldn't you? After what he's done at Ole Miss. But flip that coin. Why in the hell would Lane Kiffin want to leave Ole Miss? The only thing that I can come up with is that the NIL budget is bigger at Florida. It ain't that much bigger than what's going on in Oxford. Why would I leave Ole Miss, a place where I've built a home, I've got he is the face of that program. They love him. They've given him the keys to the program and maybe the fucking city. Why would I leave that to go play for one of the more contentious fan base in the SEC? Like they are a demanding bunch. I don't want to equate them to like Philadelphia Eagle fans, but it is a demanding fan base. Why would I want to give up Ole Miss when I can just go to Florida every other year and kick their face in and do it in the powder blue and red? That movement for Lane doesn't make sense unless he is solely money driven and he's interested in the NIL and the fat contract they would pay him.
Yeah, that's where I find myself too. It just feels like Lane Kiffin has finally found a place that truly embraces him for who he is, you know? And I feel like it's one of those just coach university like fits where I could just see him that being where he's at for the rest of his career type of thing. And he's going to have as long of a leash as humanly possible, right? Like he may have some bad seasons, but there's never going to be a question as to whether or not Ole Miss is going to fire him, type of thing. It's his job for as long as he wants it, type of thing. So I don't think he would. I don't think he would move. I think he's learned his lesson when it comes to jumping ship from programs at this point. But then
And with Lane Kiffin, real quick, with Lane Kiffin, why not stand on the grass you grew yourself? Right? You put in all that effort. Why would you leave? Because you built them from being bad. They were in a dark place before Lane Kiffin. It was a mess of head coaches. Lane Kiffin comes in, levels everything out. Why would you leave the fruits of your labor? It makes when this name popped up and you mentioned the name, I was just like, who in the hell is thinking that that's the play? Apparently, we are in the minority there.
Definitely. The other names that are being thrown around for this gig are Eli Drinkwitz from Missouri, Rhett Lashley from SMU, Jed Fish, which might not be the biggest name that's available, but he does have the ties. He is a Florida alum, which is why his name's popping up a lot. I don't think a lot of Florida fans would be thrilled with that hire. And then the other interesting name was Marcus Freeman. Whether or not he would jump ship from Notre Dame, I'm not sure. He also kind of feels like when I think of Notre Dame, I just think of Marcus Freeman at this point. So I don't know if he would really jump ship. But throw out another name for you, ready? And we've thrown him out a couple times. What if Lincoln Riley just chose to switch coast?
Here we go. No.
Dude, I think USC is going to move off of him sooner rather than later. And you know he's going to find a job at one of these. Oh, Penn State just moved off of James Franklin and his $50 million. I don't think schools are that worried about money now, especially with the NIL. Like, heads are going to roll if they are not getting their return on investment like they were expecting.
No, that's fair. So while Jed Fish makes sense with the connection, and I agree, I don't think the fans would be the most thrilled with it. I don't think Marcus Freeman is leaving Notre Dame for Florida. I think if he's ever going to leave Notre Dame, it'll be to go to the NFL. I like small names in this job. I like lesser known guys. Rhett Lashley is a great name. I'm glad we have that in there because I think that could be a great fit. Adam Golish down at South Florida, familiar with the recruiting territory, is a creative guy, seems like a good head coach, but he's more unproven than Lashley is. Lashley's a great name to throw out here. I like that a lot. I like Lashley to Florida more than I thought I would have fucking 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it's just going to be – it just feels like whoever they do end up hiring, Florida fans aren't going to be happy with. Unless it's some home run hire and they can get Nick Saban to come out of retirement or something, I don't think whoever they end up hiring is going to satisfy this fan base.
There's one phone call that they need to make the entire city of Gainesville throw a parade. You know what the name is?
Tim Tebow.
Tim fucking Tebow. Call him up. Somebody get him
Oh,
on
was
the
that actually
horn.
the?
Yes.
Is that actually the name you were
Yes.
gonna say?
Yes.
Dude, he would make one of the worst coaches ever.
Undoubtedly. Undoubtedly, he'd make a terrible head coach. But I tell you what, he'd get the men ready to fight, baby.
Oh, I'm sure he would give some great pregame speeches, but I don't know if he would do a whole lot of anything else well.
No. And I bet you,
Dude, instead of
could
spring,
could you imagine? Could you imagine him recruiting kids from Dade County?
dude, instead of spring ball, he'd be advocating for like summer missionary trips to Ethiopia and stuff to feed the poor.
Well, yeah, you got to do the Lord's work. What are we talking about here?
He's like football comes second. We must give back to the Lord first.
Maybe. No, that would be a terrible hire. Keep an eye on John Gruden for this gig too. He's expressed major
That is
interest in
so
wanting to get back into coaching and the SEC. It's a huge name. It would do stupid numbers for ticket sales, for recruiting, for alumni donations. Like John Gruden would financially fix that program and fix morale. Don't know how great of a coach he would be at Florida per se. I think he's more of a pro guy in my opinion.
I was gonna say, when has there ever truly been a time in which we have seen an NFL coach go from that rank from the NFL drop down to college football and been successful? I know we've seen it vice versa where we've had college coaches that have been able to make the switch and go to the NFL and be successful. I don't think we've ever seen it in reverse.
Nick Saban, that's the only one. But he had a
And
cup
he
of
didn't even
coffee in
have
the
that
NFL.
success in Miami. And he
Yeah,
wasn't even super successful in Miami.
yeah. So he'd be about the only one.
So yeah, I don't know if I would love the John Gruden hiring myself. But I think, like you said, I think it's going to be some young up and coming cat. Who that will be, who knows? But the other question I wanted to pose to you, because I had saw this going around on social media as well, and I thought it was a good question. With Florida's job being open now, do you think this is a better job compared to Penn State? Which job would you rather have out of those two?
Florida, and it's only because of the money and the recruiting base. It's no secret that some of the best college football players in the country come out of Florida. Not all of them, but a huge amount of them do. So the recruiting base, number one, the funding, I'm guessing is fairly comparable, but I think Florida probably has a leg up. And then you've got SEC, which I don't think either one of us agree. I think we're both Big Ten homers in that way. But the SEC holds weight across the nation. So I think Florida, but it is close. It's very, very close. Preferable, like if I were coaching, I'd rather go to Penn State. But again, Big Ten homer. I want to play in cold weather. I want to run the ball.
Do you think it's close, or do you think there's a gap between those two programs?
I wouldn't consider it 1A, 1B, but I would consider it 1-2, but a tight 1-2, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they. I think the clip that I had saw had put like kind of perspective in it. I think there's a better opportunity to win at Florida, and I think you can see that just in the history. They've had three national titles since Penn State's last, back in, I think that was early 90s, late 80s or something like that. So I think Florida is easier to win, but I think the expectations are also just abnormally high there as well.
I think the
The
expectations plays a
leash, the
huge
leash is a
piece.
lot shorter.
You're saying at Florida?
Yeah, like you're going to be expected to come in and win immediately. Whereas I think Penn State might be a little bit different now because they have had that taste of finishing top 5, top 10 for the last decade. But Florida, it seems like they're expecting SEC titles from the get go.
See, I think it's the opposite for where I'm sitting. I think that Florida recognizes, and again, I think that fan base can be contentious and has high expectations, but I don't think they're unrealistic. I think everybody surrounding the Florida football program understands that this isn't just a rebuild. This is a complete culture rebuild. This is a 180. We have to redefine what Florida football is. And that's going back to what Florida football has been. Whereas I think at Penn State, like, the expectation is, hey, we've been good for so long. We have to continue this. Florida's been bad for a couple of years. I think they have a little more patience is how I'm looking at it. And ultimately, yes, SEC titles are the goal at Florida. I just think their expectations, and maybe it's just me saying to Florida fans, temper expectations. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, both coaches will be expected to win. I just don't know if it feels like Florida is kind of biting at the bit because of the struggles that they've had in recent years.
It'll be interesting to see if they get to keep DJ Lagway or not. If DJ Lagway is a quarterback there, that job is more enticing than the Penn State one.
Definitely. Herb, anything else college football you want to touch on from this past weekend?
Yeah, and it is that ranked Big Ten teams outside of Ohio State and Indiana really need to start getting their shit together. And I'm gonna poop on Nebraska here for a second. You got a taste of the top. You got a taste of the top 25, and then you go down and shit down your leg against a far lesser Minnesota team. And what I want to say about Nebraska is I thought their O-line was capable. Both of their tackles should have their scholarships stripped, and they should have to go play at Wayne State out there in Nebraska. Because it was almost like the tackles didn't want to be out there. It's like they didn't give a shit about the game today. I think Nebraska overlooked Minnesota, but they're not the only one. There are other. Michigan needs to step it the fuck up. Illinois needs to step it up. Oregon, I know, is going to step it up, so I'm not super worried. But you are starting a slide that, if you do not correct, could be bad, real bad, inevitable maybe. But I hope that's not the case. Big Ten ranked teams, get your shit together.
PSA.
Yeah, let them know.
Otherwise, UCLA is going for that Big Ten throne.
Actually, you know what? Can I rant? I got to rant because you brought up UCLA, and I'm glad you did. I got a hot take. I got a real hot take. Here it is. UCLA, who fired their coach, who probably should have never been hired, is on a tremendous run. 3-0. They're fun to watch. They're fun to be a part of the program. They're fun to follow on social media, see the whole behind-the-scenes thing. With their coaching opening, I think they can close it right now, and I think they need to take Tim Skipper, the head coach, and make him the permanent head coach. There is no coaching search. Look at what he has done to that culture. They were a sad sack program, and now they're one of the most fun teams to follow. Jerry Neuheisel, congratulations. You're our full-time OC. Permanent. We're going to give you guys both the same contract, maybe even the DC if he decides to stay. But I don't think UCLA needs to open up a coaching search. I think you have your guy already.
See, I would give it to Jerry Neuheisel.
As the head coach?
Yes.
That's insane.
How?
He has almost no coordinating experience. He has zero head coaching experience. I don't know. Listen, Neuheisel's doing great. He's doing great. I love what he's doing. He's not a head coach yet. He will be one day. He's not right now. Tim Skipper is the guy you put in charge, and I don't think Tim Skipper is getting enough credit here.
And what is Tim Skipper done? He's also
Gave
never
the
been a head
keys,
coach. He's
correct,
also
but
he's also
he's been an
never been a
associate head
coordinator.
coach. He's been an associate head coach plenty of times. Two or three different programs. He's been an
One
associate
time,
head
and that
coach.
was this year. No, it
2
was
years.
assistant head coach at one 1 year, 2 years at Fresno State, and 1 year at Central Michigan.
That is significantly more head coaching experience than Jerry Neuheisel has dreamed of at this point. I like what Neuheisel's
I think
doing,
it would be.
but there has to be credit given to Skipper giving the keys to Neuheisel. Neuheisel will be a head coach. He might be the next head coach, or not the next, but a head coach at UCLA down the line. Very well could be. But right now, you put a guy in place who has fixed the culture, has built the team together, and given that offense to the right guy. He hasn't done anything wrong yet. I think you found your long-term head coach, at least for the next 2-3 seasons, and your offensive coordinator.
I think you're giving a lot of credit to a guy without knowing the full story of behind the scenes of how that program is truly operating right now, because they literally had to reorganize that entire hierarchy with them clearing house the middle of the season. So we truly have no. I don't think this is a typical like you fire your head coach and you like name an interim type of thing. This really feels like an all hands on deck type of thing. Like everybody's taking on way more responsibility than what they signed up for type of thing. So yes, while he might be technically the interim, I feel like it is more like a brain tank type of thing going on of whoever is remaining there, right? They just need somebody as kind of like the face to do all of the typical like head coach like interviews and things like that. You know what I mean? And sorry, I'm not
I
trying to
get where
like
you're coming
discount
from.
what Tim Skipper has done. Like I'm not trying to discount what he's done, but I also think that this is a very unique circumstance compared to other interim gigs that people have received in the past, where you can very easily like give them all the credit, like if things are going well, you know?
But while I don't disagree, I think it is in all hands. It is a collective effort. At the end of the day, there has to be, in any college football program, there has to be one guy calling the shot, delegating things, allowing his coordinators to do their job. If he doesn't have a hand in the offense, that's great. But he's allowed Neuheisel to run the offense. He very easily could have named somebody else as the OC. I think Tim Skipper's probably doing more right now than we think. But again, I do agree that it is a collective effort. It is a unique situation. But I'd be hard pressed to believe that there's nobody sitting in that head coaching office calling the shots.
But to be honest, though, I feel like UCLA is most likely going to go out and try and get a big name because we saw what they tried doing with naming Deshaun Foster previously. He was kind of a no name. Nobody was really expecting, And I feel like they really need to, they feel at least that they need to do something like hiring a big name just to get them back like the same footing as where USC is, try and reclaim a little bit of that representation there in California. And I'm not sure if Tim Skipper is going to be able to do that. Hell, he might be one of the best recruiters out there. I have no idea. I'm just saying this feels like one of those positions they're going to be aiming for the moon for a super big name to come in there.
Yeah, I get it.
Whether or
It's
not, whether or
Hollywood. It's
not
LA.
that
I
makes
get it.
sense, I think he would have to. I think Skipper would probably have to win. I don't know how many games they have remaining. I think it's 5. He'd probably have to win 3 out of 5 of those minimum to really be considered for the permanent gig.
Somebody call Ken Niumatalolo, the old Navy head coach. Let's get the triple option back in the Big Ten. Let's do it at UCLA. Let's get weird.
Yeah, I don't know who they're going to hire, but we'll see.
I like Tim Skip, baby.
Okay, we'll wrap up college football. We'll wrap up college football there, but Or so today this is going to come out on Wednesday, which means tonight is officially the first night of the NBA season. Basketball.
Basketball.
So I figured this would be one of my favorite skits of all time. Honestly, I think that shit was hilarious. Need to bring that back ASAP. So I figured we definitely, same like we did with the NFL, we have to go through and give our award predictions, our championship finals matchup, and then I also just wanted to run through some teams and give our over under on the Vegas win loss lines that are out there and try and stake our claim on some of these. So,
All right.
do you want to start with the win losses or do you want to do awards?
Let's dive into these awards. Let's get into these awards, baby, because I
Okay.
got some takes, baby.
Okay. Do you want to start with the big ones or the small ones first?
We got to start with the MVP. We got to start with it. Because mind you, you and I, we have not talked about this prior, so I don't know what's about to come out of your mouth. You got no idea what's coming out of my mouth. I'm excited to hear what you have to say on this.
Okay. So I will just run through the top 5 in odds, and then we can do something similar to like how we did NFL, where give our favorite, maybe a dark horse or something like that.
Yeah.
So top 5 in MVP odds, we have Jokic at plus 215, SGA plus 250, Luca plus 440, Wemby at plus 850, and then Giannis at plus 1300.
I'm going back to the Joker. Loved what SGA did last year. Thought he was very deserving. It feels like the Joker, I don't know if he's close to breaking any records, but something about this upcoming season tells me that it is going to be of historic proportions. So my favorite is the Joker to come back and do it. I mean, the guy can sleepwalk out there and average a double-double. Easy. My dark horse, and I don't really know how dark it is. I think it's got a lot to do with the team setup, but my dark horse is plus 25,000, Isaiah. And my dark horse plays in Phoenix. And my dark horse's name is Devin Booker. If Devin Booker can take that team as assembled right now and be strong through the regular season and take them into the playoffs, like where they're just going to be running into the playoffs, I think that Devin Booker has a real chance at this thing.
Well, that's a good thing because you don't have to worry about it because the Suns aren't going to fucking sniff the playoffs. So just save your money and just put more money on the Joker to win MVP. I think, what was it? When Westbrook won his MVP with the Thunder barely, they might have had like 45 wins. And I think that was the least amount of wins an MVP has ever had. And I don't think the Suns are fucking sniffing 45 wins. So we can just move on, pretend like you didn't say that. While it's cute,
taking Book as a dark horse.
It's not going to happen.
Well, we'll revisit in June.
Okay, so for my MVP, I think if this team is as good as they think they, or at least hoping to be, it's going to be because of this player. And that is Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh.
It's been a couple of seasons since he's been considered the most valuable player. But he's always just been lurking. And I think this is the year I think we could see something crazy from him. I'm talking averaging 32, 13, and 8, 7 assists. I think he could do something crazy. So that is going to be my favorite for MVP. My dark horse, though, and I need to go see what his odds are sitting at to see how crazy they are. But if the Knicks are to take that next step, it is going to be because of the foul line merchant, Jalen Brunson, sitting
For
there
MVP?
at plus 10,000. Mr. Brunson
For MVP?
is my dark horse, sir.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow,
And I feel good with that
wow.
one, too. I like that.
All right.
Okay. Defensive player of the year. I'm not overthinking this
Oof.
one. If Wemby plays enough games, Wemby is winning this. And you can see that with where the odds are at. Shit, I didn't even give the odds. Wemby minus 175, Chet Holmgren plus 625, Mobley from Cleveland plus 1200, Amen Thompson plus 1600, and 80 plus 2200. I'm not overthinking it. I'm not even giving you a dark horse. If Wemby plays enough games, he is winning this award. He would have won it last year until he got blood clots. This is free money.
Yeah, I don't disagree with not overthinking it. Wemby is the defensive player. But I'm going to go a little different direction. I'm going to give it back to Evan Mobley. Won it last year. I think it's coming back to him again, plus 1,200. I like the back-to-back here. I'm going to give you the dark horse and a guy who I think should have been considered even higher than he was last year and maybe even a winner of it, and that's Dyson Daniels.
The
Dyson
glove.
Daniels is sitting at the Glove Junior.
I know he has some cool nickname down there in Atlanta with something to do with his Australian heritage, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. But I'm gonna call him the glove for right now because all he knows how to do is steal the basketball.
Yeah, he had 229 steals last year, averaged just a hair over 3 steals a game. If he can replicate that and come back out and just be a steal machine, I really like him at plus 2,200.
It also just would be very cool for the storyline because you rarely see guards win Defensive Player of the Year ever. I think the
Yep.
last was Marcus Smart for was that Boston? Yeah, for
Yeah,
Boston.
he would have been playing for Boston back then.
And then before that, shoot, I couldn't tell you. It's just been such a forward dominated award for the longest time. So yeah, I like the dark horse, but this is Wemby's. I
Yeah,
I don't know off the top of my head. He had to have been averaging damn near 4 blocks a game last year before he got injured. It was just absurd. And I think he's grown. People have been talking about he's grown in the offseason. Like they're saying he could be like 7-7 at this point.
both physically grown and spiritually. Did you see him all bald with the monks up in Nepal?
I did see that. It's just funny to see him compared to any average human being at this point. But god damn, he's so he is so big.
Yeah, yeah. He was doing Tai Chi under the tree. All right, that boy is locked in, ready to roll this year.
I have to ask the question: at what height does it just become a nuisance? Especially if you're not a professional basketball player.
Oh, if you're an NBA guy, I assume 7 foot is a real pain in the butt to live with.
You think 7 foot's like that, like 6'6", you're getting by just fine?
6'6", you're uncomfortable at times in very specific situations. At 6'9" plus, most of your life is probably lived in discomfort, especially if you don't have the financial means of an NBA superstar. Like if you're just an average Joe walking around at 6'9", shopping for jeans has just got to be one of the most painful things in the world.
Can
So
we
I think you approach 7 foot. I mean, a doorway is a pain in the ass.
like that has to be? I want to see where Wemby's living at, right? Like he has to have the extra high ceilings everywhere.
I remember in like 2006 or 7 that you remember MTV Cribs? You remember that
Yeah.
program? They went to Shaq's place out in LA. I think it was the mansion in LA. There wasn't a normal door in the entire house. When you have the financial means to extend a door frame a foot up, you do it.
Do you think they're just rolling around in Sprinter vans just for convenience?
No, Shaq. I think Shaq has a couple of hot rods that he has had modified so that he can, like a Corvette, because he wouldn't fit in a normal Corvette. I think they've made extended ones. Again, that comes with elite level NBA stardom. I don't think your everyday 6'9" NBA player is able to afford that, but that's why you see a lot of them driving trucks and G wagons and Land Rovers. And it's just a spacing thing.
Crazy. Okay, next award. We'll switch gears over to most improved player. We have Amen Thompson at plus 1,000. Your boy Matthias Buzelis at plus
Mm-hmm.
1,000. Your other
Tough
boy,
shit.
Josh
Whoa,
Giddey.
whoa, 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 whoa. Pause.
Your other boy, Josh Giddey, plus 1,100. Benedict Matherin at plus 1,400. And Andrew Nemhard at plus 1,500.
I'm going. I'm not going to go dark horse because I don't know which one is going to win, but this thing is going to one of the Bulls guys. If Giddy finds whatever heat he found last year because he was playing very well at times, he's going to win it. But I think little Boozy Vert going to win this one. This kid's a baller. I love Bazulis. I'm excited about this kid. I think this is his in the bag this year.
So for mine, I think this is just a byproduct of the changes over the offseason and the role that he's going to be able to play this year, and also what he did this preseason. I don't have it off the top of my head, but I saw some videos on social media of he's just been going nuclear, and that's Benedict Matherin from Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I don't know where I got my odds that I put into this spreadsheet. Oh, it is still plus 1,400. So that plus 1,400, I think that offense is going to go through. He's going to be the number 2 to Siakam there. And I think he's going to set career highs across the board. I think Indiana still probably is good enough to be a playoff team. So that's who I like as my favorite for this award. My dark horse for this one is a guy that we started to see a little bit the flashes of it last season, and that's Jalen Johnson from Atlanta at
Ooh.
plus
Yep.
5,000. Coming off of injury, he had already started taking that jump last season, like I said. I think this is going to be the year where we see him averaging 20 plus points, 7 plus rebounds, 5 plus assists, and I think this is going to be a really good Atlanta Hawks team as well. So I'm going to put him as my dark horse. I really like his game. And if I want to do a little bit of a homer pick, Brandon Miller from Charlotte. I think he also gets some extra credit just because he was injured last year as well. I just don't know if Charlotte's going to be good enough for him to stay relevant.
Yeah. Can I give you like a super duper, like a name that nobody's really talking about in this one? I just
Obviously.
found it, and it makes a lot of sense. Jabari Smith down in Houston, with the way that they've set that lineup up, he is, I think, going to be forgotten about by opposing defenses at time. I think he is going to be one of the elite defenders on their team. I think bringing Katie in is only going to help that kid out. Keep an eye on him. He's plus 6,000 right now, so keep an eye on that.
See, that's why I didn't want to pick him or Amen Thompson. I just feel like there's just so many names, like so many mouths on that team where we know Durant will get his, and then it's just kind of, I feel like, going to be a collective of the rest. Like some nights it's going to be Thompson, some nights it might be Jabari, some nights Reed Shepard's going to step up and have a game, like I just feel like there's so many names there that
Sagoon.
Sengun, yeah, like I just don't know if they'll put up enough of the counting stats that the voters care about to really be a threat for this award.
Fair enough.
Um, any other awards that you want to do, or do you want to jump over to our teams?
I would love to sit here and talk about Rookie of the Year, but I think we both agree that there's a name that already has it locked up. It's going to be a no questions asked kind of thing if he's healthy.
Yeah, that's why I didn't put it on this list. The guy that we're both referring to, obviously, is Cooper Flagg. He's at minus 220. Although I will say, Ace Bailey did show a lot in the preseason. Like, he's looking a lot more polished than I think even a lot of the experts out there were expecting. And they're definitely going to give him the keys to that offense. He easily, I would imagine, is going to finish with better counting stats than Coop does down there in Dallas. But I think Coop's going to get the benefit of playing for a better team, so they'll probably put more stock into it. But I feel like
Probably the other.
when you have a dude, it's just like when Zion came out. When you have a dude that is that highly touted and talked about, they would have to just be abysmal to not get the Rookie of the Year, or somebody else
No,
just has to come in and do something crazy.
yeah, and I agree with you. The only other name for me to watch is VJ Edgecombe, who's going to be probably running the 2 in Philly. He's plus 1,400. He's the only other name that really dances out at me, but that's Coop's award to lose.
You want to do 6-man or you want to skip over?
No, 6-man, I think it's such a toss up because we have no clue what the rotations are going to be.
Okay. So then we will move over to our. We'll start with conferences first, and then we'll get to our finals predictions. Okay. So
All right.
we'll start in the East because the East is booty butt cheeks, and the less we have to talk about them, the better. The East, the odds that we have are Cavs at plus 220, Knicks at plus 325, Magic at plus 600, Hawks plus 900, and Pistons plus 1100 to win the conference.
As much as I want to go with Orlando because I like what they're doing down there, I like the youth revolution and the way those guys play together. I think the Cavs, as dominant as they were, continue. I think they've done a lot of the right things in the offseason, maintained a lot of those guys. I'm going to take the Cavs to come out of the East.
See, I feel like this is going to be a toss-up. I could probably pick 6 teams out of the East that I would not be shocked by coming out. I'm not going to go to the Cavs because they have a really good way of just blowing it in the playoffs. I know Donovan finally had a couple of good games in that series last year, but he has been known to disappear come playoff time. um, so I also think that just them being in the second apron is going to hamstring them a little bit come like trade deadline and everything. Like they're just not going to be able to make moves like other teams are going to be able to, which I think will impact them compared to these other teams that we're talking about. So with that being said, I'm going to go with the Knicks. They're the most logical ones in my opinion. Plus, I really just like the Mike Brown hire out there in New York. I know that they caught a lot of flack with how that whole coaching search went down
Oh,
with essentially being stonewalled by every other NBA franchise because they kept trying to snipe everybody else's head coach. But I do think Mike Brown is a good head coach. And I think what he brings is a lot of accountability, and he's going to bring some structure to that organization while also learning how to use a bench as well that they have not been used to in the last couple of years with Tibbs. If there's a team that I am low-key hoping for to make it, it would be the Magic. I think they are just a fun team. I love Paolo down there, and then they got my two Minnesota connections in both Suggs and Tyus Jones. So it will be interesting. It's a young team. Can they make a kind of Thunder type improvement? Who knows? We'll see. But that Desmond Bain trade, I think, could be what unlocks that entire team. I think the big thing for them is just staying healthy. That was their big thing last season. But I'll go with the
Yeah,
Knicks.
it feels like the Magic are a season away. Maybe give them another year, and I think you and I are going to be sitting here a year from now talking a little different about holy shit, here come the Magic.
And then we'll switch gears over to the Western Conference, where we have the Thunder. Excuse me, the Thunder at plus 125, Nuggets at plus 4,000 or plus 400. Sorry, Rockets at plus 1,000, Clippers at plus 1,100, Lakers at plus 1,100, and the Wolves at plus 1,200.
I'm taking the favorite. I'm taking the Thunder. They have far too much star power, followed up by far too much depth. They showed that to us. They can defend. Maybe they're the best defending team in the league. I mean, we watched Caruso lock down 7-footers last year. So Dort, I mean, all those guys, Williams, they're the clear cut favorite. I'm going to keep them there. My dark horse, I want to take the Rockets, but knowing the NBA and knowing who LeBron James is, and this might be his last year, and all this and that, and they have Luka now, I'll take the dark horses, the Lakers at plus 900, just because Lakers, Cavs, LeBron's last final. I'm sure that's a storyline the NBA would love to see.
Mm-hmm. I will, in fact, take the Rockets. I really like I know OKC has all the depth and everything, but I feel like the Rockets have just as much depth as they do. They go eight deep easily on that bench, and I think their head coach is very good in Ime. So I really like, especially at the odds. I like the Rockets at plus 1,000. If we want to go dark horse, I'm gonna throw my Wolves out there. Um, it may not always be pretty there in Minnesota, um, but 2 straight years in the Western Conference Finals speaks for itself. If Ant keeps keeps making those jumps like he has the last couple of seasons, I think it's bound to happen. So this is kind of just a homer pick, and I'm just hoping that it happens. But they'll be my dark horse for sure, and I'm really interested to see how Dillingham and um, Terrence Shannon Jr. play this year with more minutes because they looked really good in preseason. So whether or not um, Finch actually gives them some playing time during the regular season will be interesting to follow.
Hey, you know what season it is, Isaiah? What season of the year it is?
You gonna bring up Rudy Gobert at any
It's
possible moment?
Rudy Gobert shit talk season is here. That's my biggest concern for the T Wolves. I just had to get a listen. It's night one of the NBA. I had to get it in early and often. But don't worry, you're not safe. You're not safe, my friend.
I just don't know why Rudy Gobert lives so freely in your head.
Constantly, off season, draft, the whole nine. I'm always thinking about Rudy right here.
I need to go look up the other players making the same amount of money as Rudy Gobert, so then you can start giving them a hard time because I know that there are other dudes that are making as much as him that are way worse.
All right, we'll break that down on the next one for the fans at home.
Okay. So then championship prediction then Herb. You got Cavs versus Thunder. You've really gone crazy with these picks here so far, picking the two favorites from both conferences.
I know,
So
nuts.
who do you got?
I think it's the Thunder again. Again, too much firepower in the starting five. Too much firepower coming off the bench. They look like they can go the distance. They proved they could last year. If they stay healthy, that would be, I think, the only thing that could derail them is losing one of their big time guys to an extended injury. Would be the only thing that would concern me. Give me the Thunder to go back and win it.
Okay. Back to back, be the first time in a long time. I don't know, the Warriors in 2018 was the last time a team went back to back in the NBA. So for me, I got Rockets and the Knicks, and I just don't have faith in the Knicks. So I will pick the Rockets as my NBA champs. Bring it to Houston.
All right. H-Town, stand
Not really
up.
rhyme or reason. Outside of them just being tall as shit with Kevin Durant. Sometimes that's all you need.
Tall and athletic. Who knew that works in the NBA?
Exactly. Okay, Herb, and then I got to round out NBA. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 9 teams run through Vegas win-loss props, and you
just want over under
higher over under. I don't know if we can parlay these later, but we'll see.
Well, we'll try.
Actually, I can probably. One sec. Great podcasting here. I know, folks. I know. But
hey, cut the commercial.
Important stuff here. Cut. This is important.
Don't Go to Sports is proudly presented by Pepto-Bismol. Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. Don't quote us sports.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. I've gotten it. Okay, so as you go through these, I'll pick them in here to see if we can parlay them. And then
all right,
I'll tell you what the odds are. Okay, so we're going to start. And we're going from highest totals to the lowest here.
And I'm speed running this. I'm just giving you over under. I'm giving you no reason. No reasoning at all. I'm just going over under.
Give me like a couple seconds because I have to find them on here for the parlay.
All right.
Okay. Thunder set at 62.5.
I'm taking the over. I think this could be a 65-win team. I'm really high on the Thunder, as they should be. Give me the over.
Okay. Nuggets we have at 53.5.
Give me the over. I think they're going to be pushing 60, but I don't think they'll quite get there. I think that 55 to 57 range is realistic for them.
Okay. New York Knicks also 53.5.
I mean, because you took them, I got to take them. I don't know that I necessarily believe in Mike Brown as much as you do. For me, it would be
stick to your guns. You are your own person here, sir.
All right, fine. Under. I don't think they're going to make it as deep as you think they are. Under for the Knicks.
Okay. Thank you. Houston Rockets 52.5.
Over, but by a half a game. That's a high line, but it's barely an over.
Okay. Minnesota 48.5.
Do you remember what they had last year off the top of the head? Rough.
Hell no. I want to say it was 47 though.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go under, but again, it is by a hair. They're winning 47, 48 games.
Atlanta Hawks we have set at 47.5.
I don't know what your belief in his Trae Young is anymore, but I'm going to take the under. This could be an ugly year for Atlanta, and I hate to say it, but I'm going to take the under on that.
Okay. Los Angeles Lakers 46.5.
Over, but that is assuming that Luka and LeBron are on the court together more often than they're not, and we're already starting bad with LeBron being out. But I'll take the over.
Okay, Milwaukee Bucks, 43.5.
I'll take the over. I have reservations about how last season went. I hope we don't see more of the same. I do agree that if they're going to take off, Giannis is going to have an MVP-like year. If he does, give me the over.
Okay, and to round it out, your Chicago Bulls, 33.5.
Let me say this. I've previously talked about I might be looking for a new team. I've bought all back in to the Bulls. I am a Bulls fan. I apologize for my previous claims. Give me the over, but it's like 35 wins. I think this team is going to be all about development of players, not actually competing for a title.
Okay, so to speed run this herb, we had over OKC 62.5, over Denver 53.5, under Knicks 53.5, over Houston 52.5. You have 3 teams in the Western Conference over 52 wins, FYI.
Yep.
Timberwolves under 48.5, Atlanta Hawks under 47.5, Los Angeles over 46.5, Bucks over 43.5, Bulls over 33.5. That brings our 9-leg parlay to plus 19,147. Bet $10, win $1,900. You heard it here.
Not as spicy as I thought it would be. I
Yeah.
did leave a lot. I did put a lot of faith in these Western Conference teams. We'll see how that plays out.
We shall. Okay, Irby. That's all I got for today. You got a shout out here at the end?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out. Over the last 2 weeks, I've attended 2 high school football games. I'm going to shout out high school football players right now. What an electric time. What a fun time. I've seen some really good football. I've seen some bad football. Just going back, being an old head and just sitting there and actually enjoying the games. It's been a lot of fun. So shout out high school football. Iowa high school football playoffs are kicking off here in the next week and a half. It'll be exciting. I'm heading down to an 8-man game potentially on Friday. 8-man football. Electric. Bet the over. Bet the over every time.
I've always wanted to see an 8-man football game. To be honest, I've never understood how that shit works.
It's not too dissimilar to regular football. The field is shrunk down, but it's basically you get through that first line of defense, there's a good chance you're taking that thing for 40, 50 yards.
And then Herb, for my shout out, have to. We didn't talk baseball at all. I got to shout out the Toronto Blue Jays for advancing to the World Series for the first time since 1993, where they'll most likely just get fucking ripped to shreds by the Los Angeles Dodgers. But hopefully it's a good series. I know those games in Canada are going to be absolutely electric. Canada's team. So, and plus that was just an electric Game 7 as well. George Springer with a 3-run home run to send them to the World Series. Whew! Couldn't ask for a better Game 7 in my opinion. Had everything you needed. So, shout out to the Toronto Blue Jays. Fingers crossed that they can take out those assholes out west. But I also did see a really, really funny tweet I just had to mention as well.
I think it was what I was going to bring up.
Because within the next 10 years, if the Dodgers win this World Series, we are going to have a lot of Mexican Americans with the name Shohei Rodriguez running around Los Angeles.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Los Doyers.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. You're probably not wrong. Here's what I was going to say about that game.
Los Doyers.
Jesus. What's your name, young man? Shohei. Okay. All right. In the year that featured one of the best rap beefs since Tupac and Biggie, how fitting is it that Toronto and LA are going at it in the Kendrick Drake World Series? I mean, what?
I didn't even realize
of course,
that.
It's all scripted. It's all pop culture. It's the all-seeing eye coming at you. This is all a setup.
Oh, I love that. Just not like us is gonna make a rebound, huh?
Hey, Kendrick said I need a couple more dollars in my pocket. Make it happen so my streaming goes back up.
Well, folks, okay, that wraps it for episode 28, if I'm not mistaken, of Don't Quote Us Sports. Make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow, talk to us in our comments or DMs. Give us some ideas of things you want to hear us talk about. With that being said, we'll catch you on the flip side. Peace.
See you.